All right, we left off talking about Freud's theory of the structure of personality with the id, the ego, and the superego. So now let's talk about what y'all are probably the most familiar with Freud is the psychosexual stages. Freud maintained that children pass through a series of these psychosexual stages during which the id's pleasure-seeking energies focus on distinct pleasure-sensitive areas of the body called erogenous zones. So the oral stage is 0 to 18 months, and the pleasure center is on the mouth. And during the anal stage, this is 18 to 36 months, it centers on bowel and bladder elimination. And he said that a critical phase was the phallic stage, and this is from 3 to 6 years, and the pleasure centers on the genitals. And boys experience the Oedipus complex, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a minute. And these are unconscious sexual desires toward their mother and hatred of their father. And they cope with these threatening feelings through identification with their father. And so when they do this, they incorporate many of their father's values and develop a sense of what psychologists now call gender identity. Some psychologists in Freud's era believe that girls can experience a parallel form of the Oedipus complex called the Electra complex. The latency stage is 6 years to puberty, and this is when sexuality is dormant, and it gives way to the genital stage, which is puberty on as sexual interests mature. So, again, the Oedipus complex is simply Freud's idea that a boy's sexual desires toward his mother and feelings of jealousy and hatred for the rival father. The Electra complex, again, is the female version of this. Identification is the process by which, according to Freud, children incorporate their parents' values in developing superego. And fixation is a lingering focus of pleasure-seeking energies at an early psychosexual state. So if you hear somebody talk about an oral fixation, that's what they're talking about. And in Freud's view, maladaptive adult behaviors result from conflicts that were unresolved during the oral, anal, and phallic stages. So at any point, conflict can lock or fixate on the person's pleasure-seeking energies in that stage. Freud also talked about defense mechanisms. We're going to talk about all of these. Defense mechanisms. This is Freud's idea that in order to reduce or redirect anxiety in various ways, but always by unconsciously distorting reality, we will come up with a defense for our behavior. And let's talk about some of these things. Repression underlies the other defense mechanisms, and it banishes anxiety-arousing thoughts, feelings, and memories from the consciousness. Regression involves retreat to an earlier, more infantile stage of development. Reaction formation makes unacceptable impulses look like their opposites. Projection attributes threatening impulses to others. Rationalization offers self-justifying explanations for behavior. Displacement diverts impulses to a more acceptable object or person. Denial is when people refuse to believe or even perceive painful reality. So they're just not even accepting what's happening. And then sublimation is when people rechannel their unacceptable impulses into socially approved activities. And we're going to stop right there. Thanks.